Hey guys, my name is Matsimio, and today I want to take a look at a brand new Battle Royale game made by the creators of Titanfall called Apex Legends. Now I need to let you know going into this that this is a sponsored video by Apex. They flew me out to an event to simply play the game, and what they wanted me to let you know is that if you would like to play the game now, it is available on Xbox, PlayStation 4, and PC, and it's free to play. It's not early access, it's not a beta, they've been basically keeping this a secret for the last couple of years, and it's coming out today. And so if you would like to learn more or play the game itself, click that link down below in the description. And so with that out of the way, what in the world is Apex Legends? Well, I think the best way of describing it is that it is a class-based battle royale set in the Titanfall universe. Even before you get into a match, you have to select from one of the wide variety of different classes that all have their special unique abilities. Some are able to heal teammates, some are able to use grappling hooks to get on top of buildings to flank the enemy, kind of like what you would see in Titanfall, and others just simply have abilities that are great at taking out other players. But the thing that they were trying to stress at the event is that there's a lot of synergies and teamwork available between these different classes. A really good example of this is one ability that, when activated, allows you to see through smoke but also track the footprints of other players. Now by itself, it's great because you can track people down, hopefully catch them by surprise and take them out. But if you pair that with another class that does have access to a smoke screen, it becomes infinitely more powerful. They can't see you, you of course can see them, and you get an easy free win. These are the kind of synergies that they're trying to add into the game, not only to facilitate teamwork, but also add a lot of depth and strategy when you are approaching different situations. Now, as for the actual gameplay itself, if you played any other Battle Royale, you're probably gonna feel right at home. You drop on in, you scavenge for loot, be that weapons, armor, attachments, trying to just give yourself an advantage so that when you do come across other players, you hopefully come out on top. You then can take their loot so that you get even stronger, so that by the end, you're the last team alive and you get the victory. Of course, there's a circle that closes the arena. Like, everything is very standard if you played any other Battle Royale. One thing I did notice though is that as soon as you start to pick up armor, especially the higher tiers, there's like epic, rare, and legendary versions of the armor, essentially allowing you to absorb more shots, that everyone kind of turns into a tank. You really need to focus fire with your teammates if you want to take some of these players down. Now you can, if you get a flank off, catch people by surprise and take them out fairly quickly. But especially at long range, where it can be difficult to maintain your accuracy, if you aren't sticking with your teammates and you're running off by yourself trying to take people out at those extreme distances, you're probably going to have a hard time. This kind of reinforces what I said earlier, that Apex Legends is more about a team battle royale experience where you do need to stick as a cohesive unit. If you do go off by yourself, or assuming that you're going to be able to Rambo the 3 other players that you're going against, you can if you're really good. Like, don't get me wrong, it is possible, but because of those high health pools and that armor, it's going to be a difficult task to actually accomplish that. Another really interesting aspect, and one problem a lot of other Battle Royale games run into, is what happens when your friend gets taken out at the start of a match. We've all been there. You hot drop into a spot that's got a lot of loot, everyone's scavenging around, your friend gets taken out at the very beginning, but then you're able to rally. You wipe out every other team around you, but then you have to make that tough decision. Do I go on solo, making my friend watch me for the next 20 minutes, or do I re-queue with him and just get back into the action so that we can actually play together? Well, in Apex Legends, they twist things around a little bit. If you make your way on over to your teammate's body, I think within the first 60 seconds, you can pick up his card. You can then go on over to a respawn station, they're scattered around the map, and actually call in reinforcements, respawn him back into the world. Now, the downside of this is that you are very vulnerable. People around you are going to see this gigantic respawn vehicle come on in and then drop him on down. On top of that, when he does spawn, he isn't going to have anything on him. He's going to have no weapons, he's going to have no accessories, nothing to assist him, and so you then need to scavenge around to find him that kind of loot. But at least you can get him back into the action. I can actually foresee a bunch of different strategies and tactics revolving around this very mechanic. During the events, we hot dropped into a location where a lot of teams were scavenging around. Because our luck was awful, we weren't able to find any weapons, and so 2 of my teammates got taken out. I was then able to run away for a short period of time, come on back, sneak in while all the teams were looting, grab their cards, head on over to a respawn station, and get them back into the game. And so just in general, I thought this was a really cool mechanic. It adds some depth, it adds some strategy, and it solves some problems that other BR games have. Now, one thing I was a bit surprised by, though, is that there currently is no solo queue. If you want to play Apex Legends, it's going to have to be in a squad of 3, either with 2 friends or 2 randoms. Now, I will admit, when I first learned this, I was a bit skeptical because trying to communicate and coordinate, especially in a very team-oriented game, which is what they're going for, is going to be quite difficult. Thankfully, there are some tools and some resources to make that happen. One, for example, is there is a VoIP. So you are going to be able to make callouts over the voice comms, but they also have a really cool ping system if your teammates don't have a microphone, for example. Anything you ping in the world will relay that information to your teammates. You ping a weapon, for example, your character will make the call out, hey, there's a weapon here, and it'll say what it is and its exact location. If you see an enemy out in the distance, you can double tap the ping to say, hey, I spot an enemy, or hey, let's go over there. And so while there are going to be some really nice, robust tools to be able to facilitate that teamwork, even with a bunch of randoms, I'm curious to see how this is going to be received by the community. Who knows, maybe eventually they'll add in a solo queue, because let's be honest, not everyone wants to play with a bunch of randoms. They want to play by themselves, but currently right now, if you do want to experience Apex Legends, it is going to have to be in squads of 3. Now, one thing I really did enjoy during my time playing the game, though, are the nice quality of life improvements. If you have a weapon with a bunch of attachments on it, and you want to swap it out for a weapon that's on the ground, you don't have to take the attachments off, go into your inventory. All you have to do is, if those attachments fit into that new weapon that you want to pick up, is just pick it up. Everything swaps on over. You don't have to do any management. There's no weird inventory system to take you out of the experience, and so it just makes it a much more fast-paced, streamlined experience. As for the actual weapon mechanics, they're also really satisfying. There's a wide variety of different weapons, each of them feeling unique and distinctive from all of the others. There are rare and legendary weapons scattered around the map that are incredibly powerful, that will give you an edge against everyone else. And there's also some attachments in the game that will fundamentally change the way that the weapon performs, which could make it go from mediocre to outright amazing. Now, you're probably thinking by this point, okay, all this sounds great, but what's the catch? You said that it's free to play, there's gotta be some sort of twist here. Well, the catch is that there's loot boxes. I know what you're thinking. Really? Loot boxes? Many of you are probably rolling your eyes right now, and that was my initial reaction, but it does seem like they're doing it in a reasonable way. First of all, everything in the loot boxes is going to be purely cosmetic. You cannot buy power. At least that's what they were telling us at this event. On top of that, you can actually acquire loot boxes by simply playing the game. You don't have to spend any money. If you get really lucky, you can actually get some of these really cool cosmetic items. On top of that, they've reassured us there's going to be no duplicates. They're going to flat out tell you what your percentage chance is at getting certain items, so you don't have to guess. It will flat out just tell you what your percentage chance is at getting a legendary. And they also have a system in place where if you don't get a legendary item in so long or after so many openings, they'll just flat out give you one. So let's say after 20 openings, that's just an example, I don't actually know the number, but at some point, if you haven't gotten a legendary item, they will just give you one at the next time you open up one of these boxes. And then finally, there's also going to be a shop. The shop kind of resembles other video games out there, where each week it rotates out new items. And so if you don't want to run the gambit with the loot boxes, if you do see that item that you've been wanting for a really long time, you can just straight out purchase it from their weekly shop. All in all, though, while personally I'm not a fan of loot boxes, I do understand where they're coming from. Because this is free to play, they are a business, they do need to make their money back, and because everything is purely cosmetic and they are being upfront with how everything works, as loot box goes, this is probably the best way they could have gone about it. In general, though, I am really curious to see what people think about Apex Legends, because to my understanding, this is the very first AAA free-to-play Battle Royale game that has ever come out. And so once again, if you'd like to try it out yourself, be it PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, there is going to be a link down below in the description. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, this was a sponsored video by Apex, and so I wanted to thank them again for doing that. But let me know what you guys think about this game. Are you excited to get your hands on it? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments. I do plan on streaming this over at Twitch later today, and so if you'd like to see some live gameplay, that's going to be happening later today. Yep, until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.